It is essential to remain anonymous. Remember, anonymous is no one. Individuality is incompatible with anonymous. Rely on the whole.
Then the people that couldn't afford armies hijacked 2 airplanes and flew into the trade centers, you see. And we never said, why did they do that? How can we build so much hatred into people? What did we do in the past? Nobody seems to know that.
Well, Jacques, a lot of people who watch this program believe that it was the American government that flew those planes into the World Trade. Yes, a conspiracy.
I don't buy that, but I think that American government is stupid. They do a lot of stupid things, but not that stupid.
So you don't think, you think that was...
I don't buy the conspiracy
some
theory.
People with box cutters who hijacked those airplanes?
I don't buy it. Okay?
Okay.
Next question.
All right.
Peter, before we went to the break, we were talking about the mythology of religion, and some of which is mentioned in Zeitgeist, but you also mentioned that 9/11 was kind of an epiphany for us, and part of Zeitgeist is about 9/11.
Yes, it is.
And so, what was it that in viewing the 9/11 or going through the experience of seeing that led you to want to explore that more?
Well, I believe the official story for the first 4 or 5 years, I think, like most people did. And then through time, I began to watch the government's actions in response to that event. And in my other research, knowing about wars and how wars are created, the reasoning for wars as resource grabs and power monopolies, it really began to fall into line what the government was doing in response to this event. So initially I was horrified by how this event was used for the establishment's purposes, essentially Wall Street, if you go deep enough into it. So given that, I started to kind of backtrack, and during that time there was a large amount of information coming out in books, which I had more or less ignored, books in media and video, about, contrary theories to what the government claimed happened. I looked at it from a general skepticism, as I do with most things, but yet slowly I started to investigate into it, and as of now I've probably spent about 1,000 hours on studying that particular event, and I can say without a doubt that if there was ever a conspiracy theory in association with the event of 9/11, it's the government's story more than anything else. Events such as this are products of our culture, products of people that can justify the murder of thousands of people because they think it's for the better good of the country in the long run. That's how people like Dick Cheney or Zbigniew Brzezinski and many of these individuals think. It's in their writing plain as day. So, I felt it was important to relay that information so people could wake up to one of the biggest lies, as far as I'm concerned, of the 20th century.
Okay, well, what about another text I had in a little while ago that, again, it scrolled off, but they said, you clearly don't believe in 9/11 as a conspiracy, but do you believe in the Illuminati? Do you believe that there are people who control this world?
Yes.
And have a secret agenda? Yes. And, okay, they've got everything already. Yes. They're not going to be in love with your idea because they've got everything.
They're not.
And we're their slaves.
What do you do about
we're
that?
their robots.
Is that your question? What do you do about those in control?
That is my question.
That run everything.
What's the answer?
Here's what we do about it.
But you still haven't explained how you defeat this Illuminati which you believe in.
Yes, I think it exists.
So how do you defeat them? Because they don't want your new world order, they want their new world order.
Right. Whatever they do will not work, the Illuminati.
Now, in regards to the Illuminati, first of all the information from that is highly suspect. I have to plead a certain degree of ignorance on that because I don't believe anything that comes out of their mouth. I don't believe, first of all, the Illuminati in and of itself is probably divided into so many different sects at this point. Sure. And what information is available is probably so dated in regards to how it actually operates to this day. And they have really nasty interests. They believe in dark elements, if you want to give it that type of term. And they practice their very, very ancient, original sacrificial type of rituals.
You do know that it is in the Illuminati's interest and their plan to erode Christianity through numerous messages and then to unleash the Lucifer as the real Christ, as the Antichrist, as we call them. I mean, it's in their plan. Albert Pike's letters talk about them eroding Christianity and finally destroying it after the Third World War. Even Manly P. Hall's book says that sooner or later Christianity will be shed and a new, true religion will come and rise in its place. So I just think that you're adding to that.
Well, sure, that's fine if you want to interpret it that way.
So there is a language that's not subject to interpretation. When you read the Bible, he says Jesus meant this, and you say, no, he meant that, and he says you're both wrong. So you got the Lutheran, the Seventh-day Adventist, the Catholic, because it's subject to interpretation. There's a language that's not subject to interpretation.
What's that?
Mathematics, structural engineering. When engineers talk to each other, there's, believe me, this is strong. They give you the tensile strength, the torsional strength, the compression strength. So they talk about things in the world, not words.
But people can't even agree how the World Trade Center towers collapsed.
I'm sorry, that's the way they were.
All three of them.
Misinformed. I didn't make that world. Now somebody said to me, what if somebody came along, this is their language, that was 10 times smarter than you? What would you do? I'd get the hell out of the way.